a lot of money has been spent on this eco-mobility agenda under the previous administration. You're saying it's a waste of money. Why?
Well, it's not a waste of money as such. It's not as simple as that. Let me tell you the rationale behind my decision. I think it's not something that I just woke up and took this decision. I live in Sandton. I've lived there for just over 18 years. And I love my suburb. And it's great for it to see more improvement. But on the other hand, I have my neighbors just across the freeway, 10 minutes away from my house, people of Alexander with no basic services, no real basic services. And now, when I come across 70 million rands being budgeted for further expansion of these bicycle lanes in Sandton and surroundings, and I'm saying, no, this can't be correct, this can't be right. I think this money deserves to go to our communities where we can give them hope, can give them dignity. It's about actually closing these disparities within communities. I think we need to build bridges between communities. We just cannot afford to be spending everything in Sandton and affluent areas and leave our poor communities behind. For me, a thing like this, it's not negotiable. And I believe those communities deserve government intervention. And that's what government is all about, to ensure that we take care of the vulnerable members of your community.
Sure. And I think part of the agenda of eco-mobility was also to reduce congestion in and around the city itself. Well, the question is, what are we doing about solving our traffic light issues? It is extremely frustrating for me as a commuter as well. It's very hard to suck up the ongoing excuses coming through. Again, you've just taken office from the previous administration. I just can't figure out, and Joburg residents can't figure out, why can't we fix the traffic lights?
I mean, honestly, these are some of those weird things happening to Johannesburg. We have just Cape Town, traffic lights work there. London, Norway, in some of the most difficult weather conditions. And traffic lights in Johannesburg used to work. Something must have gone terribly wrong.
And this has been going on for years now.
And I've had discussions with MMC of Infrastructure Services. They really want them to really come out with a plan to get Johannesburg traffic lights working again, because this is proven technology. It's been around for what, 100 years or so? Mm-hmm. I cannot see why us as the city of Johannesburg cannot fix them. So I can promise people of Johannesburg traffic lights, maintenance and upgrade is going to receive our priority, because by so doing, then we can relieve traffic congestions on our roads.
That's great to hear, Mr. Mayor. Tell us about the housing crisis under the previous administration. You've started handing out title deeds. How is that progressing, and what is the plan there?
Well, one thing that I also find it difficult to understand, because us as the DA, we've always said during the campaign that our people deserve to get title deeds to their homes, because the ownership of a home, it's just more than just having a roof over your head. It's about having the world, owning property, owning the land. Mm-hmm. Why the previous administration was reluctant to give our people title deeds to their homes, only them can explain.
Some people
why.
are waiting for 2 decades.
Yeah, look at in 3 weeks' time, discovered 2,000 title deeds already ready for allocation. Why they were not given? I did not create a miracle with the first batch of title deeds that we gave out last week. And right now, as I speak to you, our housing department is rolling out title deeds allocations to our people in Deeploop, Middlelands, Orlando. And we will continue on this process. All these houses that have been given to our people as part of the RDP program, I cannot see why we shouldn't give them title deeds to these houses. So the housing department under MMC Ntuli is doing a fantastic job to speed up that process. But at the same time, we need more houses. Right now in the city of Johannesburg, we sit with such a big stock of houses completed, some of them 5-7 years ago. Why these houses were not allocated? Some of them belong obviously to the city, some of them belong to the province. All the houses that were built here in the city of Johannesburg. We are going to engage, including the provincial government, to speed up allocation of these houses to our people. But what is also more important is to ensure that we speed up building more houses, we speed up the process of identifying pieces of land that we must service, so that by the time people are given those sites, they get the title deed, but then it must be service-sized with roads, with sewer, with water, electricity, so that whatever structure that you build, at least the basic infrastructure that the state has to provide is provided. That's what we want to do, and we'll give title deeds to our people. So those are some of the programs that we have in addressing this massive housing backlog that our city is facing.
That's very encouraging. At least we can stop talking about the housing crisis for a while. But I want to move on to the billing crisis. I chatted to the newly appointed MMC of Finance at the second sitting of council, and he told me this is one of his priority. And just to raise it again with you, because the previous administration, played very low key when it came to addressing this, residents have been frustrated because they have to go through red tape and justify why they have received an incorrect bill. Tell us more about the billing crisis.
Well, the billing crisis has been a thorny matter to the residents of Johannesburg, including my own personal household. Strange enough, the provincial government also stated yesterday that the reason why some of the payments were not done on time was because of the billing challenges. But you remember very well, I think they forget that people of Johannesburg, when it was the old administration, they used to deny the fact that there's billing challenges.
They would say it's one or two incidents, but those are
one
or two incidents are too many as well.
Now you can imagine if the provincial government is aware about this, and all of a sudden the other ones coming out of the woodworks. I can give you practical example of my own personal account and lots of accounts, that queries that I receive every day. I just had a meeting this morning with SAPOA with their queries of property owners in the city. So this problem is massive. It is for that reason during my inaugural speech last week in council, I did state that I will be having a billing endeavor with the MMC and all the relevant stakeholders to ensure that we correct this matter as this problem as a matter of agency. I cannot understand in this day and age of technology why we are unable to charge people and charge them correctly and collect the money. I mean, honestly, one does not need to really be a rocket scientist, but you need the determination and the political will, and we have more than the will to ensure that we can correct the situation.
That's fantastic news. Mr. Mayor, on the point of crime, what do you make of the policing capability of the city currently?
Look, as you're aware, as a city, the law enforcement agencies under our wing is the JMPD. And JMPD's role is on bylaws. We don't have our own prisons, we don't have our own courts. So this is a matter that can only be dealt with in conjunction and in partnership with subs and private service providers. So we are having this type of discussions. But the thing is, how you deal with crime in a sustainable manner. It's not about building more prisons and bringing more police. It's about giving people hope, because normally and generally, majority of cases of people who commit crime is because of that desperation. So this question of creating employment opportunities for me, it's really very key. It's part of fighting crime. And I'm not saying that we abdicate our responsibility short term, ensuring that I think we bring the mind of our law enforcement to deal with it. But I think we need to find a long-term sustainable solution by creating opportunities to our people. Let our youth wake up in the morning, go to work. Mothers and fathers, let them end of the month be able to buy bread, buy furniture, buy whatever for their families. Today, in our city alone, over 800,000 of our people are unemployed, 1 in 3. So it's a crisis. So if we think we can deal with crime without addressing those social issues, we'll not be able to eventually win.